Welcome to the Tudor Dixon podcast. Today we have a special episode for you because today we got up really early in the morning, flew out to Washington, D.C., and I actually took my oldest daughter. I know, so you guys just heard about my whole week away at Washington, D.C. with my 8th grader. Well, I have a daughter who is a sophomore in high school, and I had the opportunity to go kind of celebrate Donald Trump's first 100 days at the White House and talk to some of the folks that are involved every single day in the thick of things in Washington, D.C. And I took my oldest with me, which was so cool because she got to actually, while I was interviewing people, while I was working on this podcast for you, and we're going to have on this particular podcast, I'm going to share an interview with Harrison Fields. He's the principal White House Deputy Press Secretary. But first, I just want to tell you a little bit about what it was like, because while I was in that room and I was talking to Harrison Fields, my daughter was taken into the White House and she got to go on her own tour of the White House, which was so cool, so awesome to have an administration that is so welcoming and so helpful. And I think I've told you in the past, when my oldest went to Washington, D.C., when she was in 8th grade, we went to the Capitol building and our congresswoman at the time didn't even bring the floor passes to us. We had to contact a Republican congressman, have his staff meet up with her staff and get those floor passes to the kids. And then my oldest, when she walked out to the House floor, or actually to the gallery, everything was done. The doors closed. Everybody walked out and we had missed everything. So it was really cool to get to take her back and have this administration take her through the White House and show her things. She was so excited. She got back we got in the Uber. We're on the way to the airport. She was like, "Mom, I learned so many cool things about the White House." So I was like, this is awesome. We walked in. Everybody was happy. They're all talking about everything that President Trump has achieved in his first 100 days, and just getting to walk in there and see, we see those mugshots on the lawn. And I know a lot of people on the far left are like, "Oh, this is terrible." No, this is progress. And I mean that so seriously, because when you walk in and you actually see those faces and you see the crimes and you say, "Look, this was a genuinely bad person who doesn't belong in the United States. And we as taxpayers shouldn't have to even pay to house them in our prisons. We should get them out of our country altogether and never let them back. These are genuinely bad guys." And here we are at a time when you've got this Yahoo in Michigan who's trying to impeach the president, saying that he's going against a court order to bring back this horrific guy, this horrific MS-13 gang member who has been legally documented as a wife beater. It's very surreal to walk in there and see these people that have hurt Americans and have Democrats and some not even so far left saying they want to protect them. Because you know what? They didn't come out and say that about Jocelyn Nungaray. They didn't say that about Rachel Morin. They didn't say that about Laken Riley. We didn't hear those names out of Democrat mouths saying, "My gosh, we have such a problem. We've got to do something about this." But Donald Trump was like, "First day, I'm taking care of this." First day. And promises made, promises kept. He is in an unprecedented era of Homeland Security. And I just wanted to go through some of those promises that he made. He said, "We will close the border and we will stop the invasion of illegals into our country." And he has. The illegal border encounters are down by 95%. Illegal immigrant gotaways, the top threat to public safety, are down by 99%. I mean, this is a big deal. And I got to talk to a few different people today that talked to me about what they're doing about the criminal cartels and how we take that to the next level, which is really important because that's another promise he made. He said, "We will expel every single illegal alien gang member and migrant criminal operating on American soil and remove the savage gang Tren Aragua from the United States." And President Trump then designated Tren Aragua, MS-13, and other vicious gangs and cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. That's a big deal. It changes how we can interact with these groups and how aggressive we can be with protecting the American people from these groups. So now we know that under President Trump, we as a country have arrested over 150,000 illegal aliens. And guess what? More than 600 of those are members of that vicious gang, Trende Aragua. He also said, I will immediately end the Biden border nightmare that traffickers use to exploit vulnerable women and children. And he has done that. And when you walk in there, today when we walked in there and we saw all of those, and I have pictures of those, maybe we can put some of those up and you can watch this on Rumble as well. And you can see that because we took some pictures just to get an idea of what it's like walking past those. It's like this sombering moment where you look at these pictures and you go, these guys, these people, they were horrible. This is a very dark time to see a United States of America that has to fight so hard against what the last administration did. But promises made, promises kept. He's doing it. He also said that the number of unaccompanied children, illegal migrants, was going to be reduced. And that has now reached a record low. So the number of unaccompanied illegal immigrant children has reached a record low from its peak under Biden. 4.6% of illegal border crossings under Biden were unaccompanied minors. I mean, I know you might say, oh, 4.6%. Are you kidding me? These are kids without their parents. Kids without their parents. And you're talking about millions of people that came across this border. So 4.6%, that is thousands of children that came across. They were sent into trafficking. A lot of them were they were underage laborers. This is crazy. And now there were just 0.4. In the first 2 weeks of March, under President Trump, just 0.4 of the illegal crossings were unaccompanied minors. This first 100 days, just when it comes to the safety of our country, has been amazingly different. So I had this opportunity to sit down with the White House Deputy Press Secretary, Harrison Fields. He's the principal deputy press secretary. I mean, he's a great guy. I've met him before. We talked a little bit about that, but he's just an amazing man. He's so energetic. All of the people there, they're talking about, we're working really long days. You're going to hear him talk about that. But just being there in the mix of all of this and feeling the energy 100 days in after they've done all of this work, it's very impressive. Without further ado, I want to bring Harrison in. So I'm going to throw to that interview right now. Again, this is the White House Principal Deputy Press Secretary, Harrison Fields. But first, I want to talk to you about my partners at American Alternative. Markets are still experiencing volatility. They have brief rallies, and then they've got sharp sell-offs, and the dollar continues to weaken on the international markets, but gold is surging to all-time highs. Wall Street analysts are warning of persistent market stress and advising their biggest clients to seek safety right now. So when markets swing this violently, your retirement savings are extremely vulnerable. And it's during these uncertain times that people want stable assets. And for thousands of years, that asset has been gold. So that's why I'm proud to endorse American Alternative Assets. They take a different approach to precious metals. They get to know you, your family, and your needs. And they know precious metals protection is not for everybody. That's why they only work with the people they know they can help. They provide quarterly check-ins to ensure their strategy for you stays on track. And 30% of those customers return and they refer friends and family. American Alternative Assets is offering our listeners a free wealth protection guide and up to 5% bonus on your first purchase. So call today. It's 877-522-GOLD or visit tudorsgold.com. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your wealth and secure your future today. Again, that's 877-522-GOLD or visit tudorsgold.com. Now stay tuned. We've got more after this.
Yes, we are so excited because we have, let me make sure I get your title right, Principal Deputy Press Secretary Harrison Fields.
Yes, you got it.
I'm so excited that you're here.
I'm excited to be here.
So you were just saying the last time I saw you was in New York. Totally different role.
Totally different role.
How's this?
Oh, it's amazing. It's good to be back. I was assistant press secretary the last 8 months of the Trump administration the first time. Previously a presidential writer in the Trump 1.0, and now I'm back as a principal deputy. It's incredible. And we're moving at Trump speed, all gas, no brakes, under the tremendous leadership of the press secretary, Caroline Levitt, a dear friend of mine and an amazing colleague to call a boss. And we've got such a good story to tell. And we have a great communications director in the president himself.
Yes.
That makes our job so much easier. So it's a job of a lifetime. Really honored and blessed to be here. And we love opening up the media to all of you.
That is what I want to, yeah, that's what's cool, because in the past it kind of felt like the White House was this elite place that only these special media outlets could go to. But here we are. I'm a podcast, and we've got podcasters, radio, everybody all around us. And you guys are just coming to us to talk.
Yeah.
What is that? What do you think that means to the American people?
It means so much because we understand that in 2025, the media landscape is so much different than 1985. And we're treating it like it's 1985 here for so long. So we're changing things. We're bringing in voices that actually people listen to. They listen to you. They listen to John. They listen to all these other people that are here. And the American people are the beneficiaries of that because they're able to hear it directly. The president understands the changing media landscape, which is why he's endorsed Caroline Levitt's plans to open the press briefing up, open the Oval up. We're no longer doing this exclusive party. We are now the bouncers. They don't like us because we are letting everyone
Well, that's what I was going to say. You're letting everybody in. There have been some people that you've said, okay, you know what? If you can't tell the truth, then you can't be here. And they are irate about that. That's something they've never
Well,
experienced.
because they've been so spoiled. They've had such exclusive access to the White House. And now they still have access, but it's not every single day.
Yeah.
We're letting in more people. We're letting in, it's not just conservative media. We're letting in liberal media, mainstream media. So we're giving more access to the people, more access to journalists, which is a great thing. That is literally what the First Amendment wants us to do. The old way wasn't very First Amendment friendly. So again, President Trump is following the Constitution and letting all voices in.
So what are the hours like? It's got to be insane. I mean, that's one of the girls earlier was like, I'm hoping that after the first 100 days it slows down a bit. I said, oh, honey, I don't think so.
We'll see. You know, President Trump, he's a hard worker. He doesn't sleep. So
Right.
why are we going to sleep? And we have so much to do. And what is a little bit of time? 4 years is not a long time.
Yeah.
So we're making the most of every single day. Yes, we get here early. Yes, we leave late. But it's all rewarding work, and it goes by really fast. You look at the clock, and you're like, oh, my God, it's 5 o'clock already. And then you probably have like 3 more hours to work. But we're working very hard. And the thing about it is that what we do is, you know, very important and pivotal. We've got people working longer hours than we do. You know, some of the janitorial staff, they're here working longer hours. People back home, blue collar workers, they're working with their hands. They're doing what we want is people are working. So we want no sympathy. We don't ask for it. We're here because we've been appointed to be here. And we love what we do, and a lot of people are depending on us.
So I heard that earlier today things got a little bit heated over some Amazon tariff pricing, and explain that a little bit.
So Amazon, we were hearing rumblings that they were going to have like a tariff tax, basically, on some of their products, basically show that the tariffs are adding to your costs. And if anyone loves Amazon as much as many Americans do,
Right.
when they see that like their bottom dollar is being impacted because of the president's policies, that is not great. One, it's not accurate. Two, why are you passing on this stuff to the consumers? You're Amazon, for God's sakes. When you look at a company like Walmart, they're investing billions of dollars into this country, and they're not passing anything on to the consumer.
That's what I saw something about Walmart recently.
Historic announcement, billions of dollars reinvesting back into the USA. They're working with us. They understand that betting on Trumponomics is a good thing to do. They understand what they have now compared to what they had 4 years ago under President Biden, night and day difference. They want to bet on America again. They want to bet on the American worker, which is great. Funny thing about Amazon, they just came out and said, this is not what we're doing anymore. So they've completely backtracked. They understand. Yeah, brand new. Yeah. Breaking news on Tudor Dixon.
That's what
they
happens when
backtrack.
you have the press can be anything.
Right. When you have Caroline Levitt, Secretary Besson, at an 8:30 in the morning press conference, setting the narrative saying, The White House is in opposition of what you guys are doing. It's a political decision. It's not one based on merit. They come around by 10 a.m. News story. Yeah.
Very
The impact of the podium.
I love that. I love that. So the impact of the podium has been great. We've heard, obviously, a lot of truths being told. There was the White House Correspondents' dinner the other night, and that was very interesting.
To say the least.
We are the Axios guy that got the award, who stood up and he said, you know, we might all have a little bit of responsibility for hiding the Biden story, but acted like they really didn't know. Like they just didn't dig into it enough. They should have been a little bit more aware. That's a lie.
Yeah. Well, it's also like, why do you need to come together on this swanky night and like have a group think therapy session of like, guys,
That's totally.
we messed up on this one. And I know Alex is a great guy and he's proud of the work. He had the gall to actually write a book about it.
Yeah.
A book didn't need to be written. All you had to do is watch the former president every single day. You were on it long before it was cool. Our side, the president was on it long before it was cool. So it's, you know, yeah, they all tap themselves in the back like, well done, guys. We reported on the president's cognitive decline.
Writing a book about it, and I don't want to rip on him, but writing a book about it, isn't it kind of profiting off of a lie?
Yes, that's literally what they're doing.
Yes.
And he's profiting. Well, he'll become a New York Times bestseller. And the history books will show that this reporter broke the news that Joe Biden was old, frail, decrepit. It's not breaking news. That's been the news. And you guys covered it up for a while. Another reason why Kamala Harris didn't stand a chance, because she covered it up too.
Yes, of course.
So it was one of the largest scandals in American history.
It wasn't, that's the crazy part. It wasn't even just that they were covering up the fact that Joe Biden was incapacitated. They were covering up the fact that Kamala Harris didn't know the facts.
Right.
She was not involved in the administration. She didn't know what to do going forward. She couldn't answer the questions. When you talk about podcasts being here and these conversations that we're having, podcasts were so helpful to Donald Trump because he got a long form to show people that he actually knew things. They wouldn't have been helpful to her.
Right.
She didn't know.
Well, she was trying to chase it too late. And then she wanted to do Joe Rogan. And then she wanted to set the terms. Joe Rogan's like, this is not how this works.
She couldn't have done it.
No.
I think that was I just think that was a play for her.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm going to be difficult. They'll end up saying I can't do it. I'll blame them. And they've always gotten away with that.
Yeah.
That's always been, for the Democrats and for the left, you can always explain away and nobody
They're
questions
entitled.
it.
But when you have an election in which the wave is moving away from the Democratic Party for President Trump, you have to adapt. I mean, they knew they were losing. Everyone knew Kamala Harris was going to lose. Instead of like trying to save face and trying to have one last ditch effort to maybe win the election, she chose not to. So she's the one to blame. I heard she's going to do a speech in San Francisco critiquing the Trump administration.
And you can get it for the low price of $25. That's not a joke.
What's ridiculous, Joe Biden's team is leaking to the press that they're having difficulties getting people to sign off on his $300,000 speaking request. They don't want to hear from him. He's charging $300,000 to hear him speak. I wouldn't pay 3 cents to hear him speak. And now they're like, well, no one wants to speak to him. The Democratic Party is in disarray.
Yes.
Dare I say dead, because Jasmine Crockett's their new leader.
Jasmine Crockett and AOC. And I think they should be very scared that they see Bernie Sanders taking over. This is a man's sport.
Yeah.
This guy was supposed to be the presidential nominee, I mean, 2 or 3 times, right? But the Democrat establishment, that's what I love about this, because Donald Trump was not the establishment choice. That is how free the Republican Party is. And that is how the voices of the Republican people are actually heard. Because if it were up to the establishment, the choice would not have been Donald Trump. Look at what they did to themselves. They chose Hillary. They chose Joe. Bernie, who is, gosh, I mean, he looks like he's 100 years old, but that man is hanging on. And I do believe that he is like putting his, everything he knows into AOC. And he's like, this is the person to carry the torch. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi, all those people, they didn't have somebody to carry the torch. They never did that. The socialists have done that. How scary is that for them?
It's scary, but it's really good for Republicans to see where they're shifting a lot of their energy and they're putting all their eggs in the basket of AOC and the other baskets of crazy out of the squad. So the further left the party goes, the better for us, because America election after election has proven that they don't want leftism. They don't.
Right.
This is why Chesa Boudin, the DA in San Francisco, got voted out of office because it's not popular. The DA in LA County got voted out because it's not popular. So it's great for the Republican Party. You're seeing, and I think the election on November 5th was so refreshing to me. I live in Northern Virginia. There's not a lot of Republicans out there, but just seeing that Fairfax County voted for Trump in historic ways. You look at the Bronx, you look at Chicago, you're seeing massive ways. The Blue Wall, Michigan, seeing how resoundingly they were for the president. Wish we would have got the Senate seat, but we'll figure that out.
Another chance.
We have another chance. But you're seeing that America's moving closer and closer to the right. Because that's where we're at in common sense. We are the party of common sense. They are the party of chaos.
I think that's why it's so critical that people stay engaged in this next election. You've got a lot of House seats. We've got to keep that majority in the House and the Senate, grow it if we can. And that's why I think people need to really understand that Trump being in is not rest on your.
It's not. It's not. You're 100% right. And we try to stress this a lot. This is why I'm glad he's going to Michigan. Because just because the election was over doesn't mean you sit back.
Right.
The left never relents. They are in the street. They have got rally after rally. They've got signs. They're working Kinko's like it's going out of business. They're pushing out signs left and right. They're so engaged. They never stop the engagement. Just because we won doesn't mean anything. We have to get back out there. We've got governor races. We have all these other things. We have to remain engaged. Conservative brand is popular. We cannot bow away from it. This is why we have these amazing venues right now to talk about it, to engage with the people. Because people may wonder, what are we doing? Yes, it's 100 days. What does that mean for you? What it means is we've got inflation under control. Jobs are coming back to the country. The border is now secure. We are on the verge of world peace, and we're just now getting started. We've got tax cuts coming. We have more direct coming. We're taking men out of women's sports. We are giving parents the ability to control their child's educational freedom. This is all what we've done in 100 days, and we're just now getting started. We have to make sure we're continuing to hammer home that message because the Democrats, they're uniting. They're prepared for 2026.
Yeah.
We have to as well.
They are. That's such a good point that I don't think about because I guess sometimes when I see these rallies everywhere, it seems kind of annoying. They're blocking traffic. You can't get downtown. I mean, I'm talking about even in my small town. But then I think about it, if it's even in my small town, and they are really pushing people to come out. And they're pushing this anger and hatred. I see this on even my friends' posts on social media. They're like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. And I read it. It's all lies and it's unreasonable. The reactions are all wrong. But they're powerful because of these rallies and protests that they continue to push. Let me ask you this before I let you go. Working with the president, I think I just saw something today saying that Karine Jean-Pierre said she really didn't meet with Biden ever. Would it be possible to do your job if you never saw the president?
Caroline is in the Oval Office, I would say, 4 to 5 hours a day. It's a crucial aspect of the job.
Yes.
When you hear directly from the president.
If there's someone else in the Oval Office, I think that's the big difference.
Right.
Ever was.
So, he never left the residence, or he really was never in D.C.
Yeah.
He was never here.
Right, yeah.
So you had a lot of other people that were doing the job. Our president, President Trump, is in the driver's seat. I always joke. President Trump was in the driver's seat. Joe Biden wasn't even in the car. So
Right.
that stark difference. And I would say one thing, if you look at a lot of the polling
He
numbers.
wasn't hanging on the bike very well.
No, he wasn't. Anything with wheels or feet, he just wasn't functioning well. Laid out flat is probably the best place for him to be. The American people love to see their president again. Regardless of the policies, regardless of how you feel about Trump, being able to just see him in action, talking to the press behind the Resolute desk, talking to them on Air Force One, talking to them in the North Lawn of the White House when he's trying to plant out his beautiful flags for the property here. They see the president. They understand that America's back in charge. We have someone that's leading the fight for America. And that's just such a relief. There's this feeling of like, wow, we have leadership again in this country. And this is why you see, for the most part, the poll numbers are looking good for us.
Yes.
Because the American people do support having a president that's coherent, that's actually fighting for us. And then if you look at the policies, the last thing I'll tell you is like, when I get gas every day or, once or twice a week in Virginia, seeing a 2 in front of the gas is it feels great.
Yes.
Going to the grocery store now under Trump feels better than it did under President Biden. The American people feel that, and they end up going and voting based on that feeling. All the polls, all the naysayers, all the comments on the Facebook groups, those are just loud voices.
Right.
Everyday Americans are feeling the impact of Trump, and they like it.
But that's why we have to keep out there, stay talking,
I know
make
you
sure
do,
they hear.
yeah.
So that's important. Must be big for you to see your former boss out there running for governor.
It's huge. I'm excited for him. I don't want to get in too much trouble because the Hatch Act. But Byron is a conservative lawyer. There's a reason why the president trusted him with this next adventure. And we need more people like him.
I just want to say, though, it is people like you who help to make people like that go do things. And that's why we appreciate that you are with the president right now. It's so valuable to have you there. And that's why I like doing this, because people get to see there's really smart people behind the scenes.
I appreciate it.
People
Yeah. We're normal people.
But people are always totally helpful. I'm going to knock you back a little bit because we're a little weird.
Yes.
You are awesome. So thank you so much. Harrison Fields, we appreciate having you on the
Good to be
podcast.
with you.
So I want to thank Harrison Fields for sitting with me today at the White House to be able to talk about these first 100 days. And I want to thank you all for listening to the Tudor Dixon podcast. As always, to download this episode or subscribe, go to TudorDixonPodcast.com, the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and join us next time on the Tudor Dixon podcast. Have a blessed day.